The last guest of room 307.
Part 2, The First Knock. Mark slowly climbed the stairs toward the third floor. The old wooden steps creaked beneath his feet. The deeper he entered the hotel, the quieter everything became. No voices. No televisions. No sounds of life. Only the distant rumble of thunder outside and the occasional groan of the aging building. The third-floor hallway stretched endlessly before him, illuminated by weak yellow lights that barely pushed back the darkness. At the very end of the corridor stood room 307. The brass numbers on the door seemed strangely worn, as if countless hands had touched them over the years. Mark noticed something odd. Room 307 was the last room in the hallway. Beyond it was only a blank wall. Yet from the outside, the hotel appeared much larger. He paused for a moment, feeling a strange sense of unease before finally inserting the key into the lock. The room was surprisingly beautiful. Antique furniture filled the space. A large bed stood against the wall, covered with spotless white sheets. An old mirror hung above a wooden dresser, reflecting the dim glow of a bedside lamp. Everything looked perfectly arranged. Too perfectly. As if no one had stayed there for years, yet somehow every object remained untouched by dust or time. Mark walked to the window and pulled the curtain aside. Rain lashed against the glass. The parking lot below was nearly invisible beneath the storm. Then he frowned. His car seemed farther away than he remembered. For a brief moment, he wondered if someone had moved it. But when lightning flashed across the sky, he convinced himself he was simply tired and seeing things. After a hot shower, Mark lay down on the bed. The digital clock on the bedside table read 11:58 p.m. The receptionist's warning echoed in his mind. If someone knocks on your door after midnight, do not open it. Mark chuckled nervously. Ghost stories were for children. Yet for some reason, he left the bedside lamp on. The room felt less lonely that way. Just as he began drifting toward sleep, a sound pierced the silence. A woman crying. The sobs were faint and distant, yet heartbreakingly real. Mark sat upright in bed. The crying seemed to come from somewhere inside the hotel. Perhaps another room. Perhaps the hallway. It continued for several moments before suddenly stopping. The silence that followed felt even more unsettling than the crying itself. The clock struck midnight. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then came a sound that made his blood run cold. Knock. A single knock echoed through the room. Knock. Another. Then another. Slow. Deliberate. Patient. Someone was standing outside room 307. Waiting. A soft female voice drifted through the door. Mark. His heart skipped a beat. How did she know his name? The voice sounded frightened. Almost desperate. Please help me. I know you're inside. Please open the door. The woman sounded as though she had been crying. As though she desperately needed help. Yet something about her voice felt wrong. Artificial. Like someone trying too hard to sound human. Unable to resist his curiosity, Mark stepped closer and looked through the peephole. At first, he saw an empty hallway. Then suddenly, a face appeared. Pale skin. Jet black eyes. A smile stretched impossibly wide across her face. Far wider than any human mouth should allow. The woman stared directly into the peephole. Directly at him. As though she knew he was watching. Mark stumbled backward, nearly falling to the floor. His heart pounded violently inside his chest. Cold sweat covered his skin. The image of the woman's face remained burned into his mind. Then something even stranger happened. The knocking stopped. The voice disappeared. The hallway outside fell completely silent. As if whoever, or whatever, had been there was suddenly gone. Mark stood frozen in the middle of the room. Then he heard a creaking sound behind him. Slowly. Very slowly. The antique wardrobe beside the bed began to open. By itself. The wooden door moved inch by inch. The darkness inside seemed deeper than it should have been. Almost endless. Like a doorway leading somewhere far beyond the room itself. Mark stood frozen in the middle of the room. Then he heard a creaking sound behind him. Slowly. Very slowly. The antique wardrobe beside the bed began to open. By itself. The wooden door moved inch by inch. The darkness inside seemed deeper than it should have been. Almost endless. Like a doorway leading somewhere far beyond the room itself. To be continued. End of Part 2 Ghost.